This is what a goat would look like if it was made 10 years ago. And this is what a pig would look like if it was made today. Kind of like the Hoglin. Minecraft looks so much more different, but it's not just the mobs. This is what Minecraft looked like in 2014. And it's gone through a whole lot of evolution in just the last 10 years. But now, in 2025, after a whole lot of updates, the game just feels different. Not just to me, but other players as well. You could say that this is due to a lot of different reasons, ranging from the new mechanics to players simply growing up. One major reason though is that the game just looks different compared to 7 years ago, for instance, making the overall game world feel different. Even though Minecraft has stayed true to its blocky nature, I believe its design philosophy has changed over the years. So in this video, I'm gonna go over each part of the game, from mobs to biomes, blocks, items, and even UI, to really understand how much Minecraft's design philosophy has changed, and look at what the future holds for the game. Also, when I refer to old Minecraft, I just mean that generally, and not a specific time period. It depends on what I'm referring to, and I wanna start with the mobs are probably the biggest reason for the game looking and feeling different now. Back in the early days of the game, you had mobs like skeletons, zombies, creepers, and spiders, which were simple designs and had limited animations. For instance, spiders don't really walk up walls, they just kind of stick and float up, and other passive mobs like cows and pigs were common archetypes in other games as well. Though there were still original early mobs like the Enderman, Ghast, and the most iconic of all, Creeper. I'm guessing a lot of these limitations for older mobs is due to the fact that the game was being developed by just a small group of people. That isn't to say that these older designs were bad. In fact, most fans, including me, like these. But what's notable is a shift in mob designs as the game evolved. Firstly, there are a whole lot more original mobs being added now, whether it be the Warden, Ally, or Creaking. These have more detailed models and better animations. A great example is this guy. Look at the pig. He's pretty iconic and rather simple. Now look at his nether counterpart of sorts, the Hoglin, released in 2020. This guy has a lot more detail, and it's the same for the old and new piglins, the villagers, and other mobs. I would say that these new mobs look better because of depth. Just try taking the silhouettes for these newer mobs. You can see extra features in addition to the base model, like the wings on the Ally or the horns on the Hoglin, making them feel more realistic. Another change is the animation. For instance, the Wither is pretty simple in its movements, as it just flies around and shoots projectiles. But compare that to the Warden, which has a lot more detail and especially varied animation, and every part of its body moves in some way, making it feel more immersive, causing 9-year-olds everywhere to wet their pants. Even simpler mobs show this change. Think about cats and wolves. Wolves were added earlier in the game, and even though they gained pet status and are loved by the community, they have limited functionality. Now compare that to cats, which were added later and have so many more features, like different breeds, actions like sleeping in the player's bed, bringing them items, and more mechanics. This shows that newer mobs are being designed with more functionality in mind. Just look at how detailed the fireflies are, for example. And now Mojang has added new variants of the cows, pigs, and wolves. This is probably a sign that they're moving towards updating other older mobs as well. Another huge reason for the game looking different is the newer world generation. We've seen a lot of drastic changes to the oceans, the end, the nether, and most notably the caves and cliffs. Exploring caves and mining is the core of the game, and the cave update, in addition to being a highly requested one, also completely overhauled cave generation, making them larger, better, and more detailed, and even added a whole new world underground by extending the overworld downwards, and also increased world height, making even taller cliffs and terrain. The nether update was also similarly influential, along with the aquatic update, and new individual biomes were added as well, adding even more variety. And I believe variety is the name of the game here. Well, I guess Minecraft is the name of the game. All this has made Minecraft even more expansive and varied, and I believe this is for the better. The sheer scale of the game has been increased, making it feel even more infinite. Now, even though the textures may not seem as impactful as biomes, they still play an important role in how we perceive the game, especially as many new changes are made. For instance, I remember a couple of years ago when all of a sudden the texture for Netherrack changed, and I completely hated it, but after a while it grew on me, and now looking back, the old Netherrack texture looks worse to me. It's the same situation with a lot of blocks like glass, grass, wheat, and more, and most of this is contributed to by the texture update, which overhauled a lot of the textures for the game. And again, I feel like the newer textures are mostly much better than the older ones. But all these new textures have made quote-unquote old Minecraft feel different from now. And most players have a lot of memories with Minecraft before all these updates, making a sort of divide between old Minecraft and new Minecraft in players' minds. I believe the UI also plays a small part in how Minecraft looks overall, and I say small part because there hasn't been a ton of new changes brought to the UI. It stayed pretty consistent and players have gotten used to it. But recently there was a leak of a possible new ender test, barrel, shulker box, chest and hotbar UI. These new leaks are very different from what we have now with colored backgrounds, and these are just the ones we have images of. Apparently the game is going to completely overhaul the UIs for all of the items like brewing stands, crafting table, furnaces and more. And all this is gonna make Minecraft look even more different. Also, something that is not a leak and has already been implemented recently is the new spawn egg icons, and I hate them and love them at the same time. Firstly, I feel like these have so much more character than the older ones, which were basically just the same egg icons recolored. These new ones are actually unique to each mob and are so much better. At the same time, I feel like some of these just look a little weird. Looking into the future, I think all these things we've covered so far set a precedent for how Minecraft is going to evolve as time goes on. I believe along with the addition of new features, the devs should and probably will also try to modernize older Minecraft models in order to make it all feel more consistent. Along with that, I feel like some of the older mob animations should be updated as well to make them more in line with newer animations. I'm not asking for something super realistic or anything, and there are already a whole lot of mods that do this very thing, and I believe this just shows how much potential an update like this can have. Of course, if something like this were to happen with a major overhaul of the visuals, plus all this is just a discussion and Minecraft visually is already great as it is, but updates are gonna keep happening nonetheless, and that's also good. But honestly, I only want one thing added to Minecraft, and that's a shark. Hopefully they don't have a rule saying they won't add real life animals as hostile mobs or something.